Hey you guys, Dev here at WeBuyHouses.com. Welcome to Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 34. Today, our subject is going to be this home in Houston, Texas. I think it says it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. We'll look at that in just a minute. But we're going to dig into that house right there, see what's going on inside there and what it's going to take to bring it back to beautiful. Right. So, but before we do that, I had a couple of just, follow-ups to share with you guys about prior things. You guys remember episode 29, I asked the question, do real estate investors want a mobile or manufactured home? The answer was basically no. This house, they wanted at that time $35,000. I think a couple of episodes ago, I saw that it was at $29,000. And this morning I see, I think it's this morning, 2 hours ago, I see $25,000. Basically, my assumption with that property in Streetman is that these buildings are of no value and they need to be demoed off the property. Because when you get to $25,000, you're just really talking about the value of the dirt. And probably the dirt could be worth 30, but there's $10,000 job of getting rid of all this crap that's sitting on top of the dirt, i.e. that house. Remember, they didn't show us the pictures of that house, and I think there was a reason for that. That house is no bueno, and nobody wants it, and they want it gone, and they might buy the dirt for $25,000. Okay, there was another one that we looked at just on the last episode. That house in Dallas, Texas, with an ARV, they said around $500,000. They were asking $269,000 for it at the time that I did the video. And what I see this morning, $255 on that bad boy. They've come down $14,000. So what I'm trying to show you guys, we're in a soft market in Texas, and it's just, we're seeing most retail sellers are taking some sort of price cut in order to sell their property. And I'm seeing it with wholesalers as well. Obviously, they want to make the most they can, just like anybody else. And they're, starting maybe a little aggressively. And we see that sometimes in what they're asking for. But, it is what it is. And I don't blame them for trying to get more. And then, coming off that price if that's not working for them. So they're at $255 on that house at 822 Timberdale Lane there in Dallas, Texas. All right, let's move on to the victim of today. It is this property in Houston, Texas, right inside the outer loop of Houston. I'll show you that in just a second. But this one being offered by Fazio Real Estate Solutions, it is being offered at $144,500. Fazio claims the ARV is $267,500. We'll see if that's true here in just a second. And they also say no known issues on most of these things. And that all sounds good. The big five, they're saying no known issues. Now, it looked a little rough when we looked at it from the outside, but maybe it's awesome on the inside, and we'll get in there and we'll find out here in just a second. So first, as always, we kind of look not only at the house, at the property itself, to try to get a sense of, well, for one, that roof, unless they've replaced the roof since the Google Street View, that roof looks rough, man. That looks rough. And again, very hard to tell with photos on roofs. You really need to put your eyeballs on them. But anyway, okay, it's not a bad looking little house. And we can see that this is where it is. This is where it is. Right over there in the, southwestern portion of the outer loop of Houston. This inner loop is the 610. The outer one is the 8, basically. And so, very cool to be in the inner loop. It's okay to be in the outer loop. You're still pretty close to downtown. You've got all these nice routes into the city and all that. So it's desirable if you want to be in Houston to be inside of either the inner or the outer loop that you see right there. All right, let's get into what did Zillow tell us now. Just a reminder. In fact, let me get rid of these things that we don't need anymore so I don't click on them. As a reminder, they're saying 267 on the ARV. Let's go see if that's what we find out. And as we see, my friends, you know, Zillow is really lowering their estimates. I would say underestimating. I don't know. Maybe Zillow is the right one and everybody else is wrong. But Zillow is dragging down the average here. I can tell you at that 204's estimate, we come down here. They again said at one point it was worth 227. They're now at 205, 204. If I go look at Realtor's a little closer to what the wholesaler's looking for at 257 for their estimated value, and they've got, they say that's coming from CoreLogic, and it won't surprise you that when I go to HAR, which is the Houston Association of Realtors down there in the Houston area, they show it as 154 as the market value per appraisal district. This is not necessarily a comp or what the house would sell for. It's kind of what the house is being taxed at. And when I come down and look, they're showing Black Knight at 300, CoreLogic at 257, the appraisal district at 174. And there's that CoreLogic. Look at it. It looks like a stock, like AMD stock or something like that, announced a deal with OpenAI, and boom, they got a lot more money. I don't know how that works, Black Knight. But CoreLogic is saying 257. My Property Radar proprietary service was also giving me a number around 257. So when I go into the model here, we plug in our address, our square foot, 1,877. Here's the deal, my friends. Everything over here, well, HAR and Realtor basically getting the number from CoreLogic, and Property Radar had it at 257. They were all at 257 except for Zillow. And I think what I'm going to do in this case, because Zillow basically just brought the average down, what is that, $14,000 because of that. I think for the purpose of our model today, and to give the wholesaler the best shot, that, we just say, I think Property Radar and CoreLogic are pretty close to the current value of this property at 257. And I think that's an okay value. Our average with Zillow is just kind of brought down by Zillow. So, and again, Zillow may be right at 204. The time will tell, right? But I'm going to stick with the 257. I had to find that $137 per square foot is what gets me that 257 value. So that's where we're at, 137 per square foot as we go into the model. And so let's jump back over to the property and get into those pictures and see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. Hopefully we got good pictures. I don't know what the HEIC means. Let us see. They are not bad pictures. These are good pictures. All right, we're outside of the house. They got a camera up there. Look at that. They got a camera up there with a solar thing. It's a Wi-Fi camera. The gutter system is missing a piece that would come from here to there so that the gutter could drain out. This house has siding, and the siding looks, okay. As we look up under there, that doesn't look good. You can see the nails from the roof coming through. Basically, there is no soffit. There is no underside to this. Honestly, man, I would close that in. That doesn't look good. To see all your roofing nails coming through the base up there, that doesn't look good. You don't see that very often. I'll say that as well. That looks like an LED light bar. All right, so we got what we could get out of that picture. We've come around to that other edge. There's where the power's coming in. We've got a breaker box on the outside of the house there. Some really kind of poorly, old steps that lead up to that back door. They look like they might be coming apart. There is something going on up here on the top of that house with all those satellite dishes. What the heck is happening? How many satellite dishes do you need? I mean, he may be like searching for extraterrestrials or whatever. The SETI thing, maybe that's his way of contributing to the search for aliens. But man, that's just a mess. I've never seen 4 of them. I've definitely seen 1 or even 2 of them, but not 4 of them. That's crazy. Well, on the back side of the house, we do see some damage to that siding right there. Looks almost like moisture damage. Kind of makes me wonder what's going on there. Got some windows, hard to tell, but I think the windows, let's see, the house was built in 1982. I'm going to assume those are 1982 windows unless somebody tells me different. And so that is that. Not a whole lot to tell. We've got a condenser unit out there. Excuse me. So it has HVAC. The condenser unit looks like it has the things hooked up to put Freon in it, or refrigerant, I guess what we call it these days. Those little gauges that are on the, you know what I'm talking about. When you add refrigerant to an air conditioner, you use little gauges. All right, so we're back outside. There is a ladder going up into that tree, and I think that should be a permanent fixture. I would enjoy that. Don't know exactly what I'm seeing with that contraption back there. Doesn't matter. It's not part of the house. What is this edge of the house showing a little, being a little beat up back there. They've got another one of these solar powered cameras. I'm not sure it's getting any light right there. It may not be working. They wanted to know what was going on outside. I'm telling you that. Backyard fence needs to be replaced. That's a couple of $1,000. Needs to be somewhere in the plan. And looking again back at the house with all the satellite dishes on it. Yeah, we're kind of getting some similar photos here. The fence, yeah, we got it. The fence is broke. There's a building back there. Buildings like that are not worth anything. You don't get any actual added value for them, but people like to have storage buildings. And they're just showing a picture of a giant tree because they think that might be something that you're excited about, getting a big tree. All right, we've come around to the other side. You see some of the shutters are missing, just kind of broke off. And they were not painted under there. If you're going to do paint, you remove your shutters, you paint your shutters, and you put them back onto the house. That's how you do it. You don't do it like that. And as we look up there, we see, there's just some things up here that are not hunky-dory, I think we used to say years ago. I think that means good. So basically, we've got the flashing here is a little weird and kind of bumps up the edge of the roofing material, and then this side piece right here doesn't really match up to that. Not a huge deal. I think that stuff would be easy to fix. They got a little bit of gutter on there that they tacked up there, probably just to keep it off their heads as they go in and out the front of the house is my guess. Yeah, well, sorta, yeah. They put a gutter on the front, and so it's not pouring down on you here as you try to come in the house. But looking at the front of the house, yeah, again, I think the windows are probably from the original build, and there's a little messiness. Doesn't look terrible. The siding doesn't look that bad. I haven't been able to tell much about the roof. Let me see that broken shutter again. There's kind of front access. The roof doesn't look horrible, but it also doesn't look good. There seems to be some discoloration. Makes me think this is a pretty old roof. This is not a 10-year-old roof or a 5-year-old roof. It's either, it could be original, which seems crazy. I mean, what is that, 40 something years ago? It could have lasted that long. But you guys see that discoloration? There's dark areas and then lighter areas. And that tells you that thing got a little age on it. There's that busted fence. Can't put a dog out there till you fix that fence all the way around the house. I'm gonna say that's $2,000 or $3,000. Really, really do not like seeing that underside. That's just There's just nothing to it, and the nails from the roof, it just looks horrible. You never see that. That's why these things are usually closed up, closed in. All right, looking on the side of the house. Again, I don't see a lot of problems with the siding. Yeah, not that big of a deal. That house could use windows. Definitely could use windows. I think it could use windows and a roof, and that's both pretty big ticket items on this thing. Was there anything to see here? Lots of plants. That's nice. Yeah. Are we going in this house? Are we ever going in this house? I think they sprayed something while it was sitting there. That's just silly and ridiculous. A little bit of decay down here around these edges, around the steps. That's something to take a look at. Easy for a raccoon to go right up under your house there. No big deal. All right, we're coming in the front door where we've got more cameras just looking down on us from above. More nails. That is so bad. I would spend, like, if I was flipping this, man, I'd have to put money into fixing that. I just think it's so bad. This all needs to be painted. This needs a lot of exterior work. All right, thank God. I was afraid. I don't know about you guys, but I was afraid we weren't going to get to go in the house. Sometimes I feel like they pull the old switcheroo. They show us a bunch of exterior pictures, and then they're like, that's it. It's like, okay. What I do see is I don't see popcorn. I don't think that's popcorn. I think that's just a texture. And I think they may have actually painted that all the way to these edges. And that, we'd be coming in and painting that wall up to that trim or that edge, or putting, crown molding or something around there. If you look at the trim work that we do have, it's pretty old. The house has been, that's been painted a few times. That's how you get that look right there. Just got a few layers of paint on it. No huge deal. Positive side, those floors may be okay. Don't know yet. But no cracks. The ceiling's pretty clean. I don't see popcorn. I like all those things. I think this is probably the coat closet actually, but they are stored up. After COVID and we ran out of toilet tissue, this homeowner said, never again. Never again. I will never not be able to wipe. Well, you know what I mean. So, okay, where are we? We're going on into the main living. Again, I think this looks pretty good. There's a line right there that's, kind of, you see that a lot. The line between two pieces of sheetrock up there. Might have been a little movement. Maybe somebody patched it, but doesn't look bad. That edge, needs to be painted. This needs full cosmetic, I think, and needs to kind of be finished. Whatever they started there up in those edges, where maybe they painted the ceiling down to a little bit onto the walls. I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of weird. A lot of shoes, ton of shoes. Who needs that many shoes? I think you need 3 pairs of shoes, the nice pair, the sneakers, and then, something to wear on the beach. All right. So let's see. I'm guessing in maybe the master. I don't know. There's just lots of like external closetry here, making me think they didn't have a closet in this room and maybe added this stuff. But no closet's gonna hold that many shoes. Come on, who has that many shoes? I'm telling you, not a guy. Guys don't have that many shoes. We don't care about that. Sorry. I'm all choked up today. The walls look okay, not super wonderful. I think they could be. I think they could be painted. I don't know if they need a lot of texturing, but I think when you get in there, you might also find a few defects that you want to fix along the way before you do your repainting. But yep, full cosmetic, needs to be painted. Here's one spot on the floor where this is weird. We see the carpet that was in this room, and then going out of the room, we see an unfinished edge of this inexpensive flooring product. I can tell you right now, I don't like some of what I'm seeing there with that flooring product. So that may not be a keeper, but dang, if it's not, you're looking at thousands of dollars to replace the floors. So let's hope it's just a lousy installation and we could maybe fix it, because it looks like if there was a trim piece right there that it might cover over all this stuff. It also looks like there's a hole in the floor right there. All right, there's some more of that product. Again, I do not love that product. There's many of these things, if they're cheap, they kind of peel around the edges and it just, ends up looking cheap and bad. Something happened here and they had to go into the walls and they did not know how to patch and retexture at the end of that process. So that's a big job right there. Not to mention, why did they have to go in those walls? That's something that you'd like to know so that, if you're going to have to go in those walls again for that thing or if it was fixed. Hopefully it was fixed, but man, that's some damage. And this texture, it's all over the place. It's willy-nilly. There's something not bueno about that texture. We're coming in here. I see some stainage, I think, on the ceiling that could be from a water leak above. I see some weirdness in the texture here. I'm not sure what's happening right there. Tub that, based on the design, I'm saying is the 1982 tub that looks like a newer toilet. I don't know. Yeah, and like a 12 by 18 tile in there. Not horrible. But see, you can just see the crappy years of paint jobs over this thing. The vanity, again, just old. This house just feels old. I think you could get away with that probably. Replace the faucet, just be nice and fresh, paint it. You could probably get away with it. The toilet doesn't look that bad. It looks really oblong in that photo. I'd like to see in the tub, yes. Again, can you see the repair? I can't see it. Can you guys see it? Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's the completely different colored tile and the inability to replace tile. There was a problem back there. Somebody had to get in there. They got in there, and then that was the aftermath of that event, and that's horrible, and it has to be all replaced. All this tile has to be replaced. This is a big cosmetic job. That toilet looks pretty horrible. Okay, let's take the vote right now. Would you get in that toilet and take a shower right now? I would not. Nope. I would not. This thing scares me. I think there might be something that we would catch, some sort of disease. Man, the more I look at that ceiling, I think maybe it is popcorn. Like that looks very popcorny. Maybe they painted over the popcorn so many times that it just doesn't, it's hard to tell that it's popcorn. But right there, man, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that ceiling. And I think that's popcorn up there. And as far as wall textures, I think that is just a paint that they've done with little stripes and such. Yeah, it's a repaint. It's a repaint, but some of these ceilings may need more attention than you're thinking. And that's the biggest thing when you're going through a house. If you just blow something off, man, it can come back to haunt you later. Oh man, I didn't even look at the ceiling, or I didn't think about the ceiling, or the fact that that is probably some of the heaviest popcorn I've ever seen. There's so many kernels yet to be popped up there. Look at that. It's just continuing to grow, I think. All right, we got a closet with no doors. Had that other room that had all that external closet stuff. The walls are repaint. Those ceilings. I'm starting to not at all like the ceiling situation. It just doesn't look good. Again, if you're thinking about a flip, this thing, only about a 257 value max. There's only so much you can do to it. You just can't drop a lot of money on a house that's only got a 257 ARV. Yeah. We got some carpet in that room. I think that carpet is from 1982. And I could be wrong, but I'm not off by much. See, you come back into that ceiling, and that is not a popcorn thing. So maybe they did some of the ceilings, but I'm pretty sure that bedroom we were just in, that was popcorn. Here we do have paneled walls that have been painted over. All the edges look pretty crappy. So I think, every edge in this house needs to be, the walls need to be painted, and the ceiling to the wall needs to have a straight edge. And it's really messy in this house, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think they may have done some work on the ceilings. By the way, did you notice over here a little bit of water damage? I think one of the things we mainly need to figure out with the water damage is, did somebody fix it and they just left that? Now we got to fix the ceiling. Or is the water damage continuing to occur? There's all kinds of ways that you can determine that with little devices that measure the amount of moisture in the sheetrock and stuff like that. So you definitely need to come in and evaluate those areas and see if they're still wet. And if they have any moisture left in them, that's going to be a problem. You've probably still got a source for the moisture. Yeah, this whole room is paneled. Here you see that, when we paint the paneling, it's not horrible. It's just, it's not what most people want, but often when you paint it, it doesn't look that bad, especially with nice trim work that's painted properly. Yep. That was a decent bedroom. I think we're still in there. The water damage looks familiar to me. See it? Gotta figure that out. Because if we don't know, it's a $3,000 problem up there that we're not paying attention to as we walk through the house. That's the stuff we care about. We're looking at the walls, the ceilings, the floors. We're looking for cracks. We're looking for water damage. We're looking for anything that tells us there's something lurking back behind there that we need to learn about. We can't see much. That picture's not very good. All right, so I think we're in the third bedroom. This was a 3, right? No, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And so maybe we're in the 4th bedroom. It seems like I've seen a few bedrooms. And that one, again, I don't see like the heavy popcorn in there. It looks like they might have done something with it. And then you see all this weird stuff around the edges. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. The house has a lot of old carpet running throughout it that needs to go. And there's a ceiling that I think various things have happened here. Like, unless I'm wrong, that is a much heavier texture than what I'm seeing here. And there could have been some damage and repair here. This could be an artifact of the photo, but I don't think so. I think there's definitely some difference in the texturing up there. Yep. Got us a spot in the wall. Don't know where we are. Might be in a closet or something. All right. Maybe that was the third bedroom and this is the fourth. Here you see again what I was talking about. I think they might have de-popcorned some of these ceilings and painted these, retextured them and then painted them. And when they painted them, they came over the edge and their thought was we're going to paint the walls anyway, so this is okay. We might as well do that. And that's fine, but it's really kind of drawing attention to the fact that now the walls need to be painted to get the edge back. That flooring product, I don't hate it, but I don't think it's a good product. There's some things about it that I just think it looks cheap to me. And cheap usually ends up in peeling, curling, edges. This, basically is vinyl picture of wood that's pasted on the top of it starts to peel up. And that's when things are not so cool. All right, here again, top of the ceiling, we see that bleed over from working on the ceiling. I think that's what happened in here. I think somebody did a good job of maybe going room by room and trying to get the popcorn out of it. I think that one bedroom we saw just didn't get there yet. The walls also look a little shiny. Look how shiny that looks over there on the side. Yeah, you don't want gloss or semi-gloss paint on your walls. You want, unless it's a bathroom, you want on your main living areas, you want a more of a flat product on the walls and a semi-gloss on your trim, not the other way around. Yeah. Are we in the kitchen? Is that the eating area? And if I turn around, will I be in the kitchen? Because that looks like a eat. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's separate dining. And we come in here, and we're going into the kitchen. Yeah. Broken tiles there. That flooring needs to be redone. Here again, look what they've done. They painted these ceilings and came pretty far down the walls in this area. Don't know what they were thinking or I don't know what the value of that is, but that's how they did it. I think the benefit for you as a buyer of this place would be that somebody's already gone and scraped popcorn off those ceilings and redone them. I think that's why they would have done that. Otherwise, they just painted it. More cracked tile right there. Yep. That whole floor has to go. Looking at cabinets, you might be able to save these with paint. The countertop, yeah, if this was a rental, you might be able to keep that countertop. If it was a flip, you probably wouldn't. You'd need to replace it, but I don't know. It's hard to tell with all that junk all over it. The backsplash looks like it was done more recently. Appliances look old. Yeah. I think that could be the original stove oven unit from 1982. All right. Well, we are moving on through this one. I think we're about done. See that? There's glossy paint that was used. Glossy paint. You do not paint your walls glossy. No, don't do it. Stop. If you're doing it right now, stop it. I wonder if they had dogs or something. Someone's been chewing on the edge of the floor or the wall down there. Yeah, lots of broken tiles. Lots of broken tiles. Laundry room. Pretty typical. It's okay. Water heater. Way up on a platform. Interesting. It's hard to tell how old this is. I don't know down in Houston if they have the same ordinance we have about the pan. It's got to be beneath it. Obviously, this one doesn't have it. Not 100%. But no known issues. As we see around the door here, there's some known issues about that. That's looking pretty rough. All that trim needs to be replaced. Makes me wonder what happened to cause that. Okay, looking from here to there. See a puppy. Who's a good boy or girl in your little cage? It's kind of depressing. Well, there's more of that where they just came all the way to the edge and just down a little bit onto the walls. Yep. I guess they were obviously thinking about painting it, the walls, and they just never got to that step. I think we're at the end. I think we are at the end. Let's see. Yeah, we are. We're at the end. We went all the way through. Man, so many pictures. All right, what did we learn? Let's go ahead and wrap this one up, my friends. Let's get into the calculator. What did we learn? We saw full cosmetic, full repairs. And remember, one of the issues we had here is the outside of the house needed some work. And you guys know one of the ways I'll accommodate that is I'll go to where 1 equals 100%. I might go to 1.25, which is 125%. That gives me several thousand more dollars to work on the outside without having to specify that as a different line item. And so I do that sometimes. If it's mostly just internal cosmetic, I go with a 1 if it's a full cosmetic, but I'll use that column to get me a little bit more money in the budget. And so that's what we just did there. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, foundation. We don't know if there's anything wrong with these things. I think, they're saying back on the email that there's no known issues on the Big Five, and we'll believe them right now for that. I am concerned about that roof. That roof looks old, and it has no soffits, no underside. That is really not good. I do think I accommodated for that a little bit here, but one of the things I'm reminded of as I look at that house is I think those were original windows, and if you were going to flip this house, you might want to do all new floors, all new windows, all paint. I just feel like there's something that is not 100% wonderful about that roof. And if I put in even at like 25%, give me a little repair budget on it, I mean, there's a good chance you'll look at this property that it actually needs a roof. Now, 13 grand is on the higher end. I'll be honest. My expense variable for the roof is $7 per square foot of the house. I don't think I would spend a full 13 doing that to this house, but that kind of gives you an idea of what it could be, I guess, on the higher end. I just want to have some money. I'll just go back to the 25% and just say I need to know that I'm not just running in blind. When I can look at that roof and I can see some aging on it. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know about that. If I stopped right here, if we said electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and foundation were all wonderful and no work to be done there, this is where I would stop on this house with a 142 cash offer off that 257 ARV. Going back to the email, what are they looking for? They're looking for 144,500. Their ARV was a little bit higher than us, but it didn't matter. It really didn't matter at all. In fact, when we came in the model, we just assumed the 257 that we were getting from CoreLogic and Property Radar. That sounded good to us. And we're going to stop right here at 142. What does that tell you? If things are not far worse than what we can see here with the big five, then this is looking like a pretty good deal around that 144. Especially, just remember, wholesalers, they've got to go out and find these deals, and it costs a few $1,000s in marketing costs just to get a deal all the way to contract. So they've already invested in it, and now they're trying to, find the right cash buyer to come take this project on and take it to the finish line. We got our opportunity today from Fazio Real Estate Solutions. If you have any interest in the property or want to talk to them about any of their properties, reach out to Jade Vaughn at 214-646-9646. I have no association with Fazio. I just use their content in my videos to teach you guys how to evaluate these investment properties. And so I do appreciate Fazio for being our victim so many times. I got a few good emails in the last few days from Blue Bonnet, if you remember those guys. So I'm looking at a few of their deals to review in the coming days. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up right here. I think we've gone a little long. It just takes a while to look at these properties and come up, do the calculation. It takes a little work. It's a little work. We're learning one video at a time. Guys, if you haven't already, go to Cash Offer Masterclass. If you want to get that calculator that I use, it's available. Click Get the Calculator. That's just a contact form. I will send you the calculator. I'll share it to you in Google, on the Google Drive. Drop down on the page to hit the blue button down there to go to the full playlist on YouTube. And we are growing, my friends. We're up to 317 subscribers this morning, and that is awesome. So we have a growing community. I can't wait till we get to 1,000, because a lot of things happen at 1,000. We're going to be able to do some really cool things. And one of the things I'd like to plan for when the community does get that size is that we would do some more like live stream things, looking at deals that you guys have found, and helping you to evaluate properties in your local market. The things that we're doing here on the channel, like as you see, I'm kind of skipping around different places in Texas. Sometimes I'm in a suburb, sometimes I'm out in the middle of nowhere. But these techniques can be used in any, for any city, any community in the United States. My methodology should work just fine for you. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. I've had a nice time presenting to you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to the coming episodes. And, we've got some other deals to look at that I just think each one of them has their own little uniqueness about them. And so that's why kind of looking at multiple houses helps you to build the skill set that you need to be a successful cash buyer, a successful real estate investor. Guys, we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Have a great day.